You've probably never heard of the incident at Bellmere Inn. It didn't make national news. No reporters swarmed the area. No sensational headlines ran across your screen. But for the people of Bellmere, a quiet town tucked deep into the Pacific Northwest, it's a story they'll never forget. Because what happened in room 313 wasn't just strange, it was impossible. The Bellmere Inn was built in 1912. A quaint 3-story lodge with creaky floors, antique furniture, and the kind of silence that makes you hear your own thoughts. It catered to hikers, writers, and anyone needing to disconnect. And for 27-year-old Sarah Mendez, that was exactly the plan. Sarah was a freelance copywriter from Seattle. She needed a break from deadlines, noise, and stress. So she booked 4 nights at Bellmere Inn, quiet, cheap, remote, perfect. She checked in on a Thursday evening. By Friday morning, she was dead. The staff found her after she didn't come down for breakfast. Her room was locked from the inside. No windows were open, no sign of struggle, and nothing, absolutely nothing, was missing. Sarah had been strangled. There were no fingerprints, no defensive wounds, no noise heard, no security footage to check. Bellmere Inn didn't believe in cameras. Local police were baffled. The door had a bolt lock, a chain lock, and 1 key, the one still inside the room on the nightstand. No one could have gotten in or out. Before we uncover the strange truth behind room 313, consider subscribing if you're into real-life mysteries and dark, twisted stories that leave you thinking. Now, back to Bellmere. Detective Rachel Hayes was assigned the case. She'd seen plenty of strange things in her career, but nothing like this. She interviewed the innkeeper, Harold Beckett, a man in his 60s who had run the Bellmere for decades. Quiet, polite, and clearly shaken. "I don't understand how this could happen," he said. "Nobody goes into room 313. It's usually empty. Sarah was the first guest in there in months." When Hayes asked why it was often left vacant, he hesitated. "Superstition," he admitted. "Locals say it's cursed, silly stories. But guests who stayed there often left early, complained about nightmares, cold spots, whispers." Hayes noted it, but didn't buy into the supernatural. She needed evidence, not ghost stories. The autopsy revealed Sarah died between 2 and 3 a.m. No drugs or alcohol in her system. Her phone was untouched. No recent messages, no calls. Detectives scoured the room. They tapped on walls, inspected vents, checked the fireplace chimney. Nothing, no secret passages. It was as if the killer had evaporated into thin air. Then came the first break. A maid reported something strange. The night before Sarah died, she'd heard faint music, like an old music box, coming from the hallway outside room 313. She assumed it was another guest and ignored it, but when she passed by again, the hallway was freezing cold, like walking into a freezer. She brushed it off. Old buildings had bad insulation. But later that week, another staff member, Mike, the handyman, admitted he once stayed overnight after a snowstorm. He stayed in room 313 to avoid the long drive home. That night, he said he woke up around 3 a.m., paralyzed, couldn't move, couldn't scream. He swore he saw a shadow near the fireplace, just standing there, watching. Mike never slept there again. Detective Hayes still wasn't convinced it was paranormal. She brought in forensic specialists to scan every inch of the room. Behind the bookshelf, they found something odd, a false panel, sealed tight but not original to the wall. Behind it, a crawl space, small, dusty, forgotten. It led to an old dumbwaiter shaft, an elevator system once used for food, now decommissioned and sealed at the top. But further down the shaft, near the second floor, it opened up again. Hayes had her answer. Someone had used the shaft to enter the room, carefully, quietly. They'd known exactly what they were doing. The investigation shifted. Who had access to the crawl space? Who knew about this forgotten architectural detail? The only person who'd been at the inn for more than a decade was Harold, the innkeeper. He claimed ignorance. But a search of the basement revealed an old key ring. On it was a key labeled S elevator room. That room had been locked for years. No one even knew what it was. Inside were dusty shelves and something else, a trunk. Inside it, women's belongings, necklaces, scarves, one journal, several photos, all different women, none were local. Hayes cross-referenced missing persons reports. 3 of the women had been reported missing after visiting the region. None were ever connected to Bellmere Inn until now. Faced with the evidence, Harold confessed. Over the years, he had watched, waited, and chosen guests who traveled alone. Always women. He used the dumbwaiter shaft to sneak into room 313 at night. It was quiet, quick, clean. Sarah had discovered something, maybe heard something. She'd become suspicious. Harold panicked. He never expected they'd find the crawl space, but he'd gotten careless. Harold Beckett was charged with 3 counts of murder and is under investigation for others. He received life without parole. Bellmere Inn was shut down permanently. The building still stands, empty, quiet. Room 313 is sealed. Locals say no one should ever enter it again. Some still claim the hallway smells faintly of perfume. Some say they hear the music box, but the real horror wasn't a ghost or a curse. It was something far more chilling. A man hiding behind charm and history. A predator who built a perfect trap and waited. Sarah's death exposed the truth, and in doing so, saved future lives. Because sometimes monsters don't live under your bed. Sometimes they hand you the room key and wish you good night.